Today's guest didn't just move to Vegas. She bet everything on herself with nothing but a suitcase and a dream.
I bought a ticket by myself and I'm like, I'm going to go to Olympia and I'm going to find a job.
From Char Chavez manager to building seven-figure brands, her journey wasn't easy, but it was unstoppable.
Anybody moving to Vegas by themselves, like decides to pack up their shit and put it in a car, is going to have a story, and mine was pretty crazy.
Now scaling clients like Cody Sanchez and Michael Sartain, Char is rewriting the rules of digital influence.
A personal brand isn't just a brand. It's personal for a reason. What if it takes you 2,500 pieces of content before you get the result that you want?
In this episode, we dive into the real hustle behind the highlights. This is Char. Going our adventure takes us to another new place and another legend here in the Vegas Voices podcast. I'm super happy to introduce Char Modelle. She's been a great friend for a while, and we're in a very similar industry. I'm in the ads industry. She is in the content and social media management side of things, which is absolutely necessary. And I think no business can survive these days without that, right, Char?
I believe that's the case for most people, yeah.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
I'm so happy you're here.
It's good to see you.
So you're a brand expert, I would say. You know, could you tell me a little bit about your background and how did you get into this whole social media thing?
Yeah, I sort of stumbled into it as a hobby. I would say I was looking for a creative outlet. And so I would start posting we're talking back when there was like no Instagram starting. I was becoming familiar with the platform. It wasn't used as a business tool at the time, but I was posting. And then through various jobs, I was working like trade shows and events. People would see we'd be there posting some stuff while we were there taking selfies, and they'd say, "Oh, let me follow you." And they're like, "Wow, your social media looks so good. Like, do you mind posting some stories or taking some content while we were here?" So it was like this organic, natural progression where I was doing it for fun. And then I got opportunities where people started asking me to help them with theirs. And then it was like, "Hey, do you manage social media?" And I was like, "No, but I can." And I tested several accounts before I started charging. I would test them for like 30 days and then use them as a reference point to begin charging people.
Super interesting how we are the pioneers of this type of digital marketing industry, right? There was no college course for it. Nobody taught us. Nobody brought it. And
we're going to wear our age.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And what I see is a progression into it, right?
100%.
And there's still no school for it. Mm-hmm. I know that universities have digital marketing degrees, but they don't, even a teacher would not even know 1/4 of what you know, right? So you moved from Indiana to Vegas. That's a big jump. How did that?
It was. In 2010, I actually worked at Indiana University, and I worked in the theater department, or Department of Theater and Drama, and I was just the office manager in there. But I was really interested in fitness, and I connected with somebody here in Vegas because I came here to Olympia. That's a story in itself. I was just like, I bought a ticket by myself, and I'm like, I'm going to go to Olympia, and I'm going to find a job. Straight up. I said, I'm going to find somebody to hire me, and I did. I was in line, had all that energy of being excited. I wanted to work in the fitness industry, and I was taking kinesiology courses at the time, and someone was like, "Hey, what do you do?" And I was like, "Here's what I do. Here's what I'm interested in." And he goes, "Well, you could actually probably help me. I'm looking for somebody to coordinate it." I didn't think they called them influencers at the time, but I can't even remember the term. But he was looking for people to promote like fitness people in the industry who were kind of up and coming to start talking about his product and using it. I think probably on Facebook at the time. And so when that happened, I ended up working with him remotely for 3 months, and then he moved me out to Las Vegas. And crazy story that happened there, but I moved here for this energy drink launch, and they ended up in a lawsuit, and it never happened. I also was told I was going to be given an apartment when I moved here in exchange, and it ended up being like a room in his house, and he had a fiance, and she didn't know I was coming, and there was all kinds of strange factors that dealt with when I got here, and I ended up it was just wild ride. Anybody moving to Vegas by themselves, like decides to pack up their shit and put it in a car, is going to have a story, and mine was pretty crazy. But it brought me here, 15 years ago, and I've been here since.
That's usually a story. Like for me, it was very similar. 20 years ago, I just packed the bag and just drove here, and that's just the way it was. So, and Vegas is very lucky to have you because now we worked with like big names like Cody Sanchez, Michael Sartain, Tana Kogan, Lisa Sutton, and other like big hospitality brands. Could you give us a quick success story that you like out of all those?
I'll touch on, everybody hears about the Cody Sanchez. So let me tell you about Michael Sartain, because that was a big one for me too, because for every client that I had that was big, I actually came at a time when they weren't big. So they were just starting to grow, and I got to be a part of that vehicle to growth. So there was a challenge there because I had to grow also to fill the shoes needed to help them get to whatever. Like Cody, it was $37,400K. Michael, I think he was at $45K and got $110 in a year. But I also had to grow with them. So it wasn't just about all on them. It was like me too. It was like, what can we do to condense, decades into, short amount of time so that way you can grow faster, but also build yourself up as a bigger name for various reasons. So with Michael, he was a very left field type of client and never worked with anybody in Men of Action. His program teaches like how to connect with high status individuals, how to build a social circle. And a lot of people think he's a dating coach. So from the outside, that's what it appears to be, but it's a little bit more to it than that. Or a lot more. So when I came on and I'm like, okay, I worked with Cody Sanchez. I had all these other clients, real estate, dentists, doctors, lawyers. I never worked with someone of his personality, and you either love him or hate him. But I had known him for 13 years. So there was never that, or I guess probably 11 at the time. So there was never that barrier to entry of like, I had to love his program personally. It wasn't about like me taking the program. I looked at the transformations of people in his life, and I was intrigued by it because I was like, I don't know what you do. I told him that. I said, I don't know what you do. And he goes, hey, we're just thinking about tapping into social media. We only run ads. He said, we saw what you did with Cody. Do you think you'd be able to help us grow organically? And there was a big company they were thinking about giving that opportunity to, and they ended up giving it to me because they knew me. And he was like, I believe we could work with you, and I would rather work with somebody I know. So, during that time of the first year, they didn't have organic traffic. So when we started posting aggressively at the time on socials, it was 3 times per day. My team was putting out 3 reels a day, and then also on TikTok, and then YouTube Shorts later. But we were aggressively tackling it and also kind of fixing his brand so people understood what he did. And they ended up having 6-figure months from organic traffic. Now, I mean, they're a 7-figure company, almost 8, but at the time, they didn't even have organic traffic. So just because we were able to get the position of the content right, they were beginning to see a lot of money come in. And I was never the person that was there for just the money. I was always like, how can we attract the right people into your bubble? How can we make it make sense? How can we get your message across? And then it did convert into dollars when I started really tapping into that.
So one of the things you mentioned was that Michael is either loved or hated.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a major factor in social media success, that polarity?
I think there's always polarity when somebody has a large following. In most cases, you'll get the play it safers, the people that are like the Tony Robbins style where they play it safe. They kind of have like people genuinely on a general level love them, don't have anything bad to say about them, kind of like the Jay Shettys. And then you get the people who are more polarizing. They actually have a greater chance of building a tribe faster because when you choose a side, so to speak, people will resonate with that more, but then the people that repel it will still watch your content.
That's usually the case. How crazy, man. I really want to take, during this podcast, I'd like to selfishly, tell us also what we can do to grow this brand.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think so far? Where our goal right now is we're going just for 100 episodes. That's what we want to do. Get it done. Get them out there. Our producer, Ivan, was telling us, he said something the other day, you have to focus on what you can control. You can control the output. You can't control the number of followers, the number of likes, or whatever. What do you think to that approach, and what else could we do here since we have you as the expert in social growth and we're just doing organic?
Sure, absolutely. By the way, how many episodes have you done?
You're number 15.
Oh, well, congratulations. This is awesome. Let me say, if I were in your shoes and I wanted to do a podcast and I wanted to figure out how to get there quick, I would be thinking of questions that other people weren't asking to get stories that they've never told before. So like, it's like one of those things that's like, what's the craziest thing you've ever done? Now you're getting somebody who's normally talking business, strategy, analytics, and whatever, mindset, their passionate stories, and you're getting them to tell a wild story. So the audience gets to see another side of them. It doesn't even have to be wild, but it could be like, what's the biggest mistake? Like, walk me through what that felt like. Getting that emotion out there, because a lot of people just kind of like walk through the steps of getting information. But if you can get them to speak and say something that they've never said before, you're going to pull out a side of them that people have never seen. And I think that's going to be really intriguing for the audience.
Cool. Let's get them the application.
That was just one idea.
Char, what's the craziest thing you've done?
Oh, no.
Prepare set a public forum or podcast. Let's see. The
craziest thing I've ever done, moved to Las Vegas by myself, leave a relationship that was decent. You know, he's a great guy, and for everybody at the time, and we still are friends, you know, from afar, but we have no black blood. But I walked away from a relationship. I also walked away from a religion when I was in the early 20s. I was heavily involved in, and so that changed from thinking I wanted to be an evangelist to like moving to Las Vegas by myself was pretty drastic for my family to see in 5 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. But what's crazy is that like I grew up wanting to be an evangelist, and I genuinely wanted that. I was like, everyone in my age group wanted to marry one, and I wanted to be one.
I can't see that. I just can't see that. Not in your latest iteration as a person. I just can't see you being...
The people who spend a lot of time with me probably know, like, you won't even see it maybe on my socials, but I'll have like God conversations and things like that. And it really grounded me. But I was the left field black sheep in my family. And I was making decisions based on, I was like, I know if I keep doing what I'm doing, that I'm not going to like the life that I have because I see my friends' lives, and no harm to them or judgment. I just didn't want that. I didn't want just to have the white cake events. I knew there was more out there. And I thought I wanted to move to California at the time, but Vegas gave me the opportunity. And so I moved out here. But I was in I remember one day I was in a relationship, and I told a friend of mine, and I was like, he's so nice, he's so good. And he's such a good person. He knows this. This isn't like news to him. But I said, I could predict every single day of my life for the next 10 years where I'm standing right now. And I said, I will never be happy. And I said, and I don't want to do that to you. And so when we broke up, I moved. I took this opportunity. It happened. It's funny. You take a step in the direction that you want to go. And for me, that was a breakup. And it was hard because he was great. Like, he was a great person and still is. And for people, they were like, what are you doing? He's like an amazing human. Are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm going to break up with him. And then a week later, I got the opportunity to move to Vegas for this job. So like, I believe though that those wild steps that you make where you can't even explain what's happening in that moment, you just take a leap, that those doors will open, but you have to do something that doesn't make sense to the people around you. For me, it was like walking away from that religion too. Everybody kind of disowned me. And it was Pentecostal. I don't know if you know what that is, but I was really involved, and I was just like, I don't feel like it's focused on the right things, but I do feel like the foundation is really good, and I still believe that, but I still they focus on the way you look and the way you dress, and you have to have long hair, you can't wear makeup, and so I
can't see that.
I love that. But do you see how wild that is? Like, you would never know that my foundation growing up for 11 years as I was in a religion. I went to Bible study. I went to church 4 days a week. I taught at a nursing home. I thought I wanted to be the next evangelist until I discovered Tony Robbins. And then I realized I can be good to people and it not have to be in the realm of a church only.
That's amazing, Char. But doesn't like Tony Robbins and all these things just become a religion in itself too?
Maybe, but if it's working for you, you know what? So for some people, they wake up every day and the only thing that's giving them hope is somebody like that they're listening to.
Wow. Are you still of the faith?
100%. Like, I will give God credit for every step of the way. And I have, there's no, I just don't talk about it so much that people are like, oh, she's Christian, you know? But my friends do. We talk about, oh my gosh, we're like, oh my God, thank God. Like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even, me and my, I hate saying boyfriend and I hate saying partner. He's more than that to me, but whatever. My significant other, we wake up every day and we like make these little healthy shots that we drink. And we do it because we're trying to prime ourselves for the day to like manifest how we want the day to go. And I'm in such an analytical, strategic brain. A lot of my clients are men. So like they need numbers, they need reasons, they need blueprints, they need da-da-da-da-da-da. And so for me, it's nice to kind of go back into that, like, I don't know, spiritual side of it in the morning. And so we'll like cheers and we'll talk about like what we want to manifest, or like, you know, we talk about like, okay, you know, God, okay, talk about God, what we want to manifest, and things to kind of set our day. So that way when I wake up, it's not straight to my phone and business, which you know, like we hate doing that, you know, but it primes you. So there's parts of my day that like always includes God, and it's just not necessarily transparent to the person unless they really know me.
Right. And you can keep going, following God your own way without having to be in a set frame or a religion or a group that tells you how to do things or what you have to do. That's amazing, Char. Thank you. Okay. So on the other hand, I like you because there's a lot of name dropping to do with you. You've worked with great people, and I still want to touch on Cody Sanchez because she's the biggest thing on social media right now. I'm actually doing her course tomorrow.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
That's great.
I signed up for it.
You're going to buy some businesses maybe?
Yeah, I'm always looking into expanding in business and all that. So, you know, she grew from 37,000, you said, to 400,000, like 18 months. And she's generating a lot of revenue out of that. Like, what are one or two key strategies that you did for her?
Yeah, you know, what's funny is like when I took her on, it was sort of that like I bit off more than I could chew moment. I didn't even realize because it was good because I was the person that was like managing social media. Like I knew how some of the basics, but there's like this iceberg of info, like things that you're like, oh, I know this much. And then you don't realize how much more there is to learn to really effectively scale someone. Not just scale them online for visibility and reach, but scale them so they can grow and build a team that makes it a business. And so there was probably 6 of us on the team at the time. I don't know, it's just 20 plus people. It's an office, but, and we were all obsessively in this group. Whatever we did, we obsessed over it. And so for like, I make a joke that during those 18 months, I didn't look up from my laptop. I did, and she wasn't my only client at the time, but she was my main client. And I did everything I could. I watched everything. I learned. I was taking master classes on my own. I was just trying to like figure out to shortcut that time to grow her because she was aggressive on her goals she wanted to reach, and tracking them. And I learned so much about business working with her. And so when I took her on, I said, "Your social media is shit." I said, I meant it nicely, but I was telling her as a friend, like I was like somebody I just met through a friend. I was like, oh my gosh, like you're amazing, but your social media is not really showing everything you do. And so when she hired me, one of the biggest things that we did is we got clarity on exactly who she was, what she was doing, what her mission was, what you would gain from her page whenever you started following her. And we doubled down on the boring businesses, but that wasn't the only thing that she was posting about to begin with. It was very much like, it was like kind of like investor stuff. She invested in like, the weed industry, I don't know what to say, but she had been in other areas in different industries, but we really honed in on the content that took off, which was like the laundromats, the car washes, all of that.
Who would have known? And like you were saying, you were inventing things as you were going in the digital marketing industry. That's what we do, right? And you mentioned, was it 20 people just for her content that are on this?
No, when we started, there was only about 6 of us. It was like, Char, you're over. I don't tell people this because I'm never going to offer it to you. Don't ask. But I ran her LinkedIn. I ran her LinkedIn and grew it. I grew her second Instagram page for contrarian thinking, and her main page, that was my bubble. Char, tell me how we can grow 3% every week. Like, what are you doing? We're measuring this. Everything I did, like 3%.
Oh, I thought 30.
3% is actually still pretty big for all platforms.
Super big.
But we, and then we have a YouTube guy. It's like, what are you doing to help us get there? We had a TikTok guy. What are you doing to help us get there? We had a Twitter guy. What are you doing? And then we had the person that ran the Contrarian Thinking newsletter with her. So like everybody had their thing. It wasn't like, the team started to grow as we went along, but that's what we started with, was a very small but mighty team.
That is amazing. Mm-hmm. So what are the biggest pitfalls you see when entrepreneurs are building their brands on Instagram, especially with short form?
Yeah, I think it's because, so to me, personal brands really took off in the last 4 years. So this is where you get the Cody Sanchez, the Alex Hormozis, the top of the top that people all aspire to be like. But they don't realize, because they see that, they grew fast, and they don't see what it took to get there. So I'm the one that was like, hey, do you understand the amount of investing? These people did nothing but obsess over their growth as a personal brand and their businesses. This is what they do. They wake up, they eat it, they sleep it, they drink it, they preach it, they live it, they breathe it. It's not just having a team. So when I'm sitting across from somebody, and I've had a lot of people who say to me, every single one, I want to be the next Cody Sanchez. Guess what? When I was with Cody Sanchez, I wanted to be the Alex Hormozi. Everybody wants to be somebody, but it's the people who actually dig and learn what those people did to get there and then do it that see the results. And there's very few people that will actually do what it takes. And that is really, a personal brand isn't just a brand. It's personal for a reason. You have to be involved in the building of it. So I've had somebody hire me, and guess what? They didn't get the results they wanted, but they weren't meeting with me. I had to speak through them through their team. They weren't on their channels. They weren't following any kind of strategy. They were just hoping that the mindset stuff would take it off. And so I think the biggest pitfall is unrealistic expectations without investing what it truly takes to get there.
Yeah, there is no magic pill.
Yeah.
You gotta put in the work.
Yeah.
Especially, I see these days people up their content. There's so many crazy special effects. I don't see AI taking off, though. That's one of the things. I wanted to talk a little bit shop with you on different channels and things, on what's going on at the moment. For me, there's LinkedIn has never worked. I don't know, you mentioned LinkedIn. Has it worked for you?
Well, I don't personally use it, but it has worked for you. For my clients. Yeah. For certain clients, yes. But here's the thing. If you said, Char, I want to build a personal brand, and I really want to grow it on IG. For example, I had a client. He said, I hate IG though. Hate it. And then he goes, and most of my clients are investors, and they're looking to spend minimum of like 10 million, et cetera, whatever. And I go, I said, okay, you don't hang out on IG, but does your clients hang out on IG? And he said, no, not really, but I've been told, IG, blah, blah, blah about IG, I should use it. And then I was like, I don't know about that. So I asked him more questions, and he was like, where do they hang out? He goes, well, we actually have a Facebook group. Some of them are in there. I've had some look on LinkedIn because they're decision makers. They're typically the ones over the companies. Some of them are a bit older. They're hanging out there. So for me, it's like, it really depends on your client. Where are they already hanging out? Because if you tell me they're not, you don't see them liking the post and commenting and reading whatever on Instagram, I'm not going to tell you just to sell you on it that you should be there. For some of them, it is LinkedIn. So people do see good results on LinkedIn. It depends on whatever that they're selling or their service or their offer. But yeah, you can see good results over there.
So a lot of the answers, like anything in digital marketing, is it depends.
Exactly.
I hate TikTok with a passion, and I make it public all the time. What is your take on TikTok?
I think it's easier to grow on TikTok. I started investing a little bit more time on it. We have a 3-page Vegas dining, and we do see sometimes things will take off a little bit easier over there. TikTok is not for everyone. I think that if you're already making the content, you can kind of throw it up there and see if you get a result from it. But again, it's like, if you were selling makeup or something, you might do really good on TikTok. But if you find how to tap into that audience, it's different. They like the car conversations. You just sit in the car and you just talk forever, rant, rave on things. They'll like that content more than a perfectly curated TikTok, like a reel. They're going to like the stuff that makes it feel like you. They'll call out the fake if it's over edited. In our experience, it's the one stuff that was we took a story from Instagram and then put it over on TikTok. That story would never do that well on IG because the hook wasn't strong enough. You didn't pull them in. All these things has to tick off. They spoke too long, but on TikTok, people are listening to it, and they don't mind listening to it. It doesn't have to have tick all those boxes on IG. So it's interesting, but my take is it can be valuable, but if you don't need it, then don't use it.
Well, we're on the platform, but I hate TikTok. And you can put that in a viral really be one. Anyways, yeah, and I hope they get taken down by, I don't know, Trump likes it or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then let's go to the big daddy of all, which is Instagram, Meta, Facebook.
Sure.
I think Facebook is being filled with a lot of filler content, but everything and everywhere, in my opinion, I tell my clients too that your hub should be Instagram.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that, okay, so if you were to just start out and you were thinking about doing anything, then yeah, I think Instagram should be the hub, because people often go to the website and then they go on Instagram, like,
first thing, right?
Yeah, they want to see, like, how is this person, or even the place that you're going. Because, you know, I manage restaurant accounts too. They'll go, oh, is this a restaurant I want to dine in? Or is this person in real estate that I want to talk to? Or whatever it may be. But they do make a lot of decisions based on how you appear on Instagram. And so, not all, but a lot of people are hanging out on that app already. So I think that would absolutely be the one. However, if you were in the middle of launching a YouTube and you're very serious about it, then I would say that's great, because focus on your YouTube, because it's evergreen and it's going to last longer. The content's going to give you more return over time. But then you can chop it up and then put it on Instagram. So then you're kind of collapsing that time needed to create content for multiple channels.
Yeah, that's a technique that's been growing, and that just, it's very evergreen. It's actually what we do here.
Perfect.
So, okay, so we have Insta. I personally think Insta is like a very, if you think it out well, and you can compliment on this, it's a very good business card. It's a very good business presentation, right? Even if your content doesn't get seen, somebody looks for you, and if it's presentable, it's going to be a really good presentation card for you.
Yeah, I mean, perception's huge. So if, like, you do one business, but and you're not present online, but somebody else does the same business and they're present online, and I go to look for you, I might make a decision based on that, because I can kind of gather a little bit more information about, is this the type of person I want to buy from? Is this the type of person I want to do business with or meet? So I think it's very important to have an Instagram that at least is giving the audience that hits that page the right perception of who you are, and that clearly shows your offer, that clearly gives people a place to go. Like, there's no reason to not, like, at least take advantage of having that foundation. And I've had people hire me and they just were like, well, I don't plan on, like, just using Instagram and getting a lot of traffic from it, but I still need it to represent me and what I do, because other people are looking me up. And we'll do that. We'll, like, go in and then we'll help them build that foundation. So then that way they decide to really grow on it. They have at least a starting point.
Cool. There's a perspective right now that I see that business owners take with content, and they get overwhelmed because it seems to be that everywhere social media is crowded. And my question to you, is it really crowded, or is it the people that are coming out with content are coming out with more content, more quality? What's your perspective on this viewpoint? Do I just, like, give up and not do content, or do I just plow through it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's this lie that people believe they have to be at a certain level to see success from their social media to begin with. You know, I've had clients, and actually even me myself, when I was building my brand social page, I had immediate opportunities for speaking, open up. And I spoke at a NAB panel, at a big conference here. And then things like that opened up only because I began posting over there. People didn't realize, even in my sphere and bubble, that I did certain things. So, like, if you're so busy paying attention to the people that you're like, oh, I aspire to be like that, and I'm not there yet, you're missing out on the fact that the people in your own sphere who know you are kind of like waiting for the opportunity to find someone like you to work with because they trust you. Then it's like you would be posting that content, you would reap the benefits from your own social network, but you don't, because you're afraid that I'm not going to be the next, like I said, whoever, insert name. And then it holds you back because you think that the only way to be successful is by having tons of followers and also likes and comments.
It's great that you mentioned that, because on the follower side, I another perspective, and I think we're going back and forth on this as digital marketers. is that followers are the most valuable commodity right now. Because I notice, I mean, we've been plowing through and putting out quality content consistently, daily. And getting followers has been the hardest part. We're getting tons of likes. But I don't know if the trend has changed, that people don't want to follow that many accounts anymore. What has happened? And what is your perspective on this?
I mean, I usually do a deep dive with somebody to kind of see why they're putting out really good content when maybe people aren't following. There could be various reasons. One is, it's like, for one, your perception of what is good content may still like not be making sense at a glance to people as to why they should follow you. It's like, you need to have everything set up, like your highlights, your pinned content, everything at a glance for people to go, I want to follow this person for whatever reason. And two, are you engaging? Because I, transparently, when I take on business accounts, we have an engagement person who they go in and they engage at least 15 minutes a day, because you sometimes need to attract people back to your page, and it's organic comments. It's not like heart, like, they'll leave like genuine comments on people they think would be interested in that business. And then people will speak, oh, wow. Then they kind of go back to the page too. Like, you have to be an engager sometimes to get that following.
That's a super old school strategy. It's the third person I hear this week that's taking on that. And some people are calling it the 3-2-1. Go on like 3 posts, comment on 2, and then something like that.
It doesn't even have to be like that. I mean, just be alive on the channel. Like, imagine if you, I don't know, I always liken it to like you invited people to a party and then you weren't there. Like, you know, or you put on, it's like walking around with a billboard but not having any conversation with the people who are actually on your page. Like, sometimes you need to be the generator of engagement to see that. And it does take time to follow. I'd have to see, like, how long have you been posting? Go and look at your top pieces of content that did gain traction and following, because you can see in the analytics of that, because then you might even double down on the posts from that podcast to gain more. And then you'll learn more about your audience when you see the patterns.
Okay. And then also collabs are a big thing right now, right?
Yeah.
We're doing that a lot in the podcast. That seems to bring up the engagement a lot.
100%.
Even 4 ways. How many ways can you do collabs now? We're doing 4 or 5 way collabs.
Yeah. I can't remember now what it is. 3. I thought it was 3. Is it 4?
Yeah, you're doing 4, right, Ivan?
And they're 5.
Is it 5 now?
Yeah, and it's crazy. And the way that you start seeing a plethora of people that you never saw all over the place, it's just amazing. So now let's go to the creating content side of things. It can be very intimidating. How do you coach clients through the imposter syndrome and the camera shyness?
Yeah, you know, I tell people, like, there's no shortcut to it. You're going to feel stupid. You're going to judge yourself. You're going to notice things about you that you didn't notice before. You just have to get past that. Like, if you're so worried about things being perfect your first go, then you're never, ever going to post. But then there's things that you can use too. I mean, there's like good lighting makes a massive difference. Like making sure your screen's clean so it's not smudged, and making sure that things are like set up so that way you're framed in there. You can see it on the selfie before you film, you know? But like, you have to get over the hump of being bad in the beginning in order to be good, because there's nobody that gets to do that without, like, you have to post.
You have to go through the suck, right?
You just do. There's just no shortcut answer to it. I'm like, I can't make you good. You have to get good by being bad at first.
Of course. And you mentioned, I have this, like, in my mind, because you said it on a short form piece of content on Instagram. You said you need to go to 2,500 pieces of content.
Yeah. I think
to make your dreams come true. Something
like, you know, I said, what I said was, what if it takes you 2,500 pieces of content before you get the results that you want? Yeah. Before you achieve that result, and for your dreams to happen. And for a lot of people, they stop too short. And what they don't understand is that when I took on Michael, he had already posted over 2,000 times. And not seeing the growth that he wanted. When I managed Cody, she had posted over 1,000 times before I took her on. I was her first social media manager. And so, but they're just gonna go, oh, they just grew big. And I'm like, you come back to me when you posted at least 2,000 times, and then we can discuss this. At 2,500, you tell me that you're gonna quit. Okay, but guess what? You have all these strategies now. So, and also, how important is it to you Because then don't start the damn business. Because personal branding is a business if you're just going to quit. You're giving up on everybody who's invested time into you too. You're giving up on your dream if it's really important to you.
Giving up on your dream. Because I made the math on that, right? It's like 7 years if you post one piece of content in there, right?
Why do you think you posted 3?
If you post 2, it's 3.5. And I don't know if you mean stories and reels and everything all included, right? If you post 3, what is it? 3 times... It's a little less, like 2 years, right? But does this have to be quality content, or like can you like slack a little bit, or like all piece of content have to be on?
Well, I don't think it needs to all be perfect. I think sometimes it helps for you to just kind of go on there and talk to your audience, be human.
Just be a human.
Just be a human. And also, what's funny is like as you go along, okay, let's compare it to another industry. Let's say that you were the singer that wanted to be the next Taylor Swift, and you weren't going to be happy until you got there. And you went out on a stage and you did your 100th show. Okay. So what if during that time you just fell in love with performing to small audiences, and then it became fulfilling and you no longer needed to be the next Taylor Swift in order to feel successful? What if along the way, just by all the people that you meet, you get opportunities that you never knew existed, and it put you in another direction and you never needed that? These things happen. And so while I don't crush people's dream, you can absolutely grow and be the next X, Y, and Z. But it's amazing to watch how many people think that that's what they want, but then they change directions and new opportunities come into their life they never knew existed by just going through the motions and not giving up and powering through those times.
I call it outflow equals inflow, right? Mm-hmm. The more you put out there to the universe, the more you're going to get back.
Exactly.
Could you walk us through a typical day in your week or your life, managing your brand, your client accounts, and you teach too, right?
I do. There's the typical day. I'll be honest, I don't have like, so to speak, just typical days, but there are certain things that are set in stone. Wake up, we take our little shot. Let me tell you like the boring stuff that I do in the morning. To feel like, to feel amped for the day, have a record player.
We love morning rituals.
Okay, so my morning ritual is like taking our little energy shot, and then Jeremy will he's my boyfriend or whatever, he'll make breakfast. He's a better cook than me. And I'll make coffee with the coffee press. I try to do things with my hands. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of things that we do, like there's nothing tangible with it anymore. And so like I put on a record, and I love Frank Sinatra. So like I put on Frank Sinatra. Hey. I don't know why, but you can't be sad listening to Frank Sinatra first thing in the morning. So we like put on the old school music.
What's your favorite song?
I don't know. I listened to like New York this morning. It was like, I don't know, made me happy. But you know what I mean? Just like he has one about coffee in Brazil. And so it always gets in my head, and I'm making coffee. So I'll like listen to that coffee in Brazil. Anyway.
That's really cool. I'll pass you one. Just look this one up. Is Frank Sinatra and Luis Miguel. Luis Miguel was like he's still alive. He's one of the biggest pop stars in Mexico. They have a duet. Look it up here.
I will look it up. Yeah. We just so I put on the record, and for like 30 minutes I have me time, and then I'll check my phone. I make a mistake every morning when I check my phone first, because then I don't get that me time. So I try not to do that, and then I check Slack. So I manage my clients in Slack, and that's the first point of communication. I make sure there's no fire, so to speak. So with Men of Action, I am still their strategist and content director. I help scale their team. I think there's 11 people underneath me now. Huh? So I pop in, and I'm basically moving pieces all day. Like, okay, let's try this, this, and this, and this, and this. And so I become I was like, I don't want to leave this. Like, this is a good part of my business, and it makes me feel like I'm in a mastermind, because we work together to try to figure out how to get to the next level. And so I'll check in with them and the team, and I say that lightly. That might take quite a bit of time. And then I have other client accounts that I'm managing, and I make sure that the content goes out okay. I have somebody engaging, and I'll check their comments to make sure that they're like, I check in on that. You can actually easily see the comments recently posted on Instagram. So I'll check in there, and then with the client calls, I'll generally have a lot of my business is built on referral, so I'll have that. And then I'll do my client calls, and then I'll send out my emails, and then if I'm doing any coaching or teaching, then I'll have that scheduled in too. So that would be, right now it's like 3 days a week of that. It's not every day. So when I'm coaching, I'll check on my clients, and it's like, but usually with the team, I generally am tapped into a team because of the level of people that I work with. So it's like their ads people, they might even have their own social team over there just getting the content. I'll give them the shot list. I'll tell them, kind of what to shoot to make sure that we're still on track, things like that.
Now that you mention ads, one of the things that I'm noticing the biggest in my industry, in the ads industry, is that I'm running a lot of social content as ads.
Yeah.
It's working and it's outperforming.
Yeah.
Because I guess you're being human, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So one of the things you said you also have a foodie page and you're traveling and collaborating with brands and running the agency. How do you juggle all this stuff and still deliver the
I don't know.
super results?
I don't know. No, what's funny is the people that are in my sphere who are smarter than me, wealthier than me, that I learn from. Let me just tell you, like, I have really good people around me that I learn from too. They have multiple businesses. I mean, they have tons of businesses. And to me, it's like I don't feel like I do that much in comparison. If you have the right team members who are supporting you, then you will be able to do a lot more. So it was me like getting the right people in place. And I honestly still need to get a couple more people in place to take some stuff off my plate so that way I can focus on bigger things. But I'm always thinking of like, how can I scale others? And then I bring that over to me. How can I scale myself? So I am able to do more things because sure, I run Vegas signing, but we have somebody in that account regularly engaging and, we might do some of the editing and we might even post, but that's more of like a passion project that we've been growing. And so there's not like that stress of it has to produce X, Y, and Z. We used it as an excuse to have date nights and try all these restaurants, and then it grew. So I'm able to balance that because the stuff that I do, I brought it into is already in my lifestyle. Like I'm already a foodie. I'm already going to restaurants. Let's work that in. I'm already like teaching personal branding and things like that. My boyfriend does videography and photography, so that was a component I could bring into my social media management. Like, what can you do right now that you're already doing where you could bring it together if you're traveling or whatnot, so that way it flows?
Well, thank you for that. That's usually the life of an entrepreneur. I find a lot of similarities the way, because we're in the same industry, different parts, but same industry. I just find a lot of similarities. How I run my day and all that. I mean, I do change it up. I do cold plunge and other stuff. Yeah.
What's your morning routine?
Map. So the first thing that I do is I wake up, I get into the red light, I have a big panel, then I do breath work, and we put out a lot of piece of content. We're putting out a lot of piece of content on my personal Instagram about it, because Alex Ramosi hates morning routines, and I'm completely the opposite. I could spend 4 hours doing my morning routine.
Yeah.
So after that, I'll go and cold plunge for 6 minutes, and then we have a trampoline at the house, and I jump, and my wife also, we're like coordinating because it's like little station.
Oh my God, that's cute. I love that.
That's crazy, right?
I love that.
And then, but if I don't do it, like you said, you gotta prime yourself up for the day. Even if my day is shorter, my hours are a lot more productive than if I don't do it.
Because you felt like you included you in your day. I've been there where I didn't include myself for like a really long time because I was doing too much for too many people. And I needed to go through that phase because I needed to know what it was like to be overwhelmed in order to go, okay, I can't do this. I have to create boundaries. I need to have the right people who can support me. And I also need to put me back into my own day.
We all have to, and that's part of the progression of being an entrepreneur, right? And I don't think there's a right way for anybody. It's just whatever is right for you.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Cool. So let's go into our rapid questions. So number 1, favorite app for editing reels?
I guess CapCut. I know everybody uses it, but it's really a tried and true. I think it's the easiest to use.
Didn't you get crazy withdrawal syndrome the day that they took it off for a day? It was crazy, right?
Well, it was. I was just worried it wasn't going to come back.
And it did. It took a day. All right, cool. Go to hook phrase right now.
Say that again?
A go to hook phrase for right now.
What do you mean?
A good hook that's happening right now.
Oh, let me think of one that I heard recently. I had to actually ponder this for a minute. I think just anytime anyone says something like this is wild to me that this could even happen. When you go into some sort of emotion-driven hook where you don't tell them what you're about to share right away, and then they're like, what? What was so crazy? What was so wild? And it's not even just, okay, it's not a verbal hook, it's a visual hook too. This is wild to me that this even happened. Now you caught my attention with the verbal and visual. So then I'm going to be like, whoa, you stopped the scroll because now you're doing two types of hooks.
Cool. Favorite off-screen hobby?
Favorite off-screen girl? I'm a coffee date girl. I mean, like, I never thought of it like how much every girlfriend that I like meet or like I'm trying to catch up with, I do the coffee date. I don't know. I like being in a coffee like house. To me, that's like cozy and gives a cozy vibes and has a really good cup of coffee. Gabby, shout out to me. The one in Henderson is quiet still. And I hope it stays that way, but I want you guys to do really well with it. But it's very quiet still because the other one's hustling, bustling is like, I love it because when I'm there and I'm having a conversation, catch up with a girlfriend, it just hugs me. I don't know how to describe that.
I thought you were going to say foodie stuff, but close enough. All right.
Coffee and food. Just eating.
I love coffee too. I know there's a couple that you mentioned, but I go to most coffee shops in town.
Yeah.
Also my thing. Nice. So what is the most underrated Instagram feature right now?
Can I tell you an overrated one? I think the real feature is overrated. I've been testing it out with people. So what it does is it shows people a test, like people that aren't in your audience, like the video. So then that way you can decide whether or not you want to post it. But I've been testing it with a few clients and it's not showing it to the right audience. So then nobody views it. And a reel that actually went viral with over 1 million views got 5 views yesterday, for example. And I go, I think this is a crap feature because they're clearly not able to figure out who would like it. If they're showing it to a test audience, they don't know who that test audience is. So to me, they haven't worked it out. Now that's my experience. I think an underrated feature is just like pinning this isn't even like a feature. It's pinning your content at the top of your page that expressively tells who you are, what you offer, and some sort of story about you, even if it's like a carousel of images. It doesn't have to be a reel. Actually, I recommend it be carousel because now when I hit your page, I know so much about you without having to watch too much content.
So that's prime real estate where you want to communicate exactly what you do and how you do it. Nice. One word that describes your brand style.
Man, what you're doing to me, I gotta think of it like this. Direct.
I'd say so. Absolutely. That was very direct. Cool. So what's the biggest piece of advice that you would give to entrepreneurs or personal brand that are feeling stuck right now on Instagram?
I just want to make sure that your metrics for what is doing well is aligned with what you truly want from the Instagram page. Because again, like I help people grow. I teach viral strategies. We do all of these things, but going viral isn't going to make your world just a better place. It's going to bring more people into your bubble. But until you feel really connected to whatever it is that you're using your platform for, you will feel a disconnect when that happens and you won't even know what to do with the followers when they're there. So like, to me, it's just like, don't give up and don't feel like you have to know what's going to happen every step of the way. Like sometimes people tell me I'm multi-passionate. I don't have a clear direction on what I want from this yet. And then I'm like, cool, just begin posting because a lot of times the steps appear when you begin to step. And I can't tell you who you're going to be at step number 5 because you're not that person yet. And you have to begin taking those steps and invest into your personal brand for you to see the results you want. But if you give up too early, you'll never get there.
So I would translate it in this way. Go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you'll see further.
Start with where you're at. And then as you begin to take the steps, they begin to appear.
But Char, and this is probably something that all of your clients ask you. Can anything be viral? Can anybody go viral?
Yeah, because I think there's also like ways to go viral. It doesn't necessarily just involve you. It could be, so when I look for viral strategies, we look at the content that already went viral. There's literally a system or a blueprint that you can follow for some people because there's a trend happening right now. You could hop on. There's like words that people are posting with a matching sound you could do, and you could hop on that train because other people are already looking for that content. it's showing up. Because Instagram saw it went viral 3 times, they are going to show your reel because you're following that trend. So there are ways to shortcut that time. And, but like I said, it's not just going through the motions. You have to understand there needs to be like a little bit of charisma or connection or something with a personal brand. I can't make you famous. I can't make you connect with your audience. There needs to still be some sort of like a wow factor. And it doesn't have to be total like Tony Robbins charisma, but there still needs to be something where people go, you see me and I resonate with your message.
Cool. All right. So how can listeners learn more about your course?
Yeah.
Social media management,
Sure.
Follow you on Instagram, find you on the web.
Yeah, so I'll run through my services just so you know, because there's a few.
Sure.
So brand social management, my website will be live in a couple of months. I'm excited about this. This is focused on businesses and brands who want to be managed by me. For personal brands, I still do a strategy. Like if you said, Char, I don't know where to begin. I don't know what to do. It's called Personal Brand Launch. I give you the blueprint to start. And so you could work with me on that. And then a lot of my clients will continue to hire me for consulting monthly to make sure that I can help them, move along to grow. And then we do content, whether my team has done content. I partner with Jeremy and some other videographers, and they've done content for everything from like wind properties to resorts to apartments to also people. And so we can do really high luxury content as well as just like personal branding content even. And then I do have my course, Reels Revolution. And it's super actionable in the 7 days. You're not going to just grow in 7 days. I'm giving you the foundation to grow on because I saw where people were lacking with a lot of this content or these courses was teaching people how to stand out as an expert and an authority and also integrate those viral strategies because you lose one or the other. It's like you can't just be an authority and a voice that's trusted and not know any viral strategies. Kind of need to blend. And you need you in your content as well. So I discussed that.
Out of everything you said, the thing that lights you up the most I see is the course, right? I guess probably because you can help the little guy, right?
Yeah.
I know you're pretty expensive.
I can be.
It's hard to get to you, but that is one way that people can get to you easier, right?
Absolutely. And I'll share the link with you. So maybe we can offer something to your audience.
Very good. Cool. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your expertise on organic growth and all this great marketing stuff. Any final thoughts or big projects that you have coming up?
Just that I'm doing the shift to the brand social management is just for any businesses or brands. I'm very excited about that here in Las Vegas, especially because we're so tapped into that network and now I'm offering it. I wasn't offering it. I was only offering personal brand management last year. And then also just, I do want to do, I'm talking about it. There's enough interest, but walk people through the course where they get to work with me and actually go through the course. And so I have beta testers. I'm going to test that on Burst, and then that'll probably be an offer later this year.
Char, you truly are a Vegas voice. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Number 15,
Yay.
under wraps. Thank you.